Wow.
Alright. I can call the meeting to order. It's 6:00. Need a motion to adopt the agenda. Are there any changes? Corrections? If not, do I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor of adopting the agenda?
Aye.
Thank you. Approve minutes of our regular meeting on January 20th. Any additions, corrections for January 20th? If not, do I have a motion to accept those minutes?
Second.
All those in favor of accepting the minutes of January 20th, 2026?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, the minutes pass for January 25th of 2026. Highway report, we have award truck number 4 bid proposals.
I think we ought to table that. We need to talk a little bit more on that subject.
Do we have a lot of follow-up questions?
Yeah, we had
Yeah,
questions.
and we couldn't get a hold of the guy we want to talk to until today and didn't get really enough out of him to warrant to bid.
Because
So let's do it the next time.
I agree, I think we need the answers to those questions.
There's a lot of them.
And it's still the one bid.
It's only one.
Yeah.
We only have one,
Right.
so better be good.
But depending on those questions, we might want to stay without one.
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah. For year 2027, I stand requests for proposals, for bid proposals.
Yeah, we had just written up some specs based on what we sent out last year, so it's pretty standard language. Sticking with 1,500 yards delivered to the town garage before November 1st of this year. The main difference was last year we had pricing, the price per yard included the delivery fee. And we thought it would be helpful to break that out, so on the specifications, it has the price for the sand alone and then the delivery cost added. So we can send it out, have bids due back by March 2nd. And I think that seems to give plenty of time for contractors to get a bid in. I guess get into that.
We reduced the budget, if you remember, on the sand because we had such a huge pile up there. But it's been used a lot this winter, so the pile is down, so I don't know if 1,500 yards is gonna be enough.
Recommendation.
We have issues on the sizing, so like last year with the bids, I remember something
Size of stone.
came in and we ordered something that wasn't in the bid.
It's a larger stone.
No, I think, yeah.
This one's your
Yeah.
standard 9/16, so this one's going out. So once what's in the final stone, that'll be the end of the larger stone. It was just shy of an inch.
Okay.
And it was a little rugged or the stone per se that.
Do you have any change in the yardage? 1,500, is that gonna be enough or do you wanna increase that?
It would be nice to increase a little bit. Yeah, I would say 2,000 would be, give or take on the winter, maybe a number I'd like to see.
Okay,
So is 1,500 based on previous?
You're gonna get prices probably from $25 to $30 a yard.
Regardless of quantity.
Yeah, so 1,500 yards is gonna be your budget of $45,000.
Okay.
So you're gonna be over, but maybe you can come in less, fine, but. I just don't know, I don't know how much you're gonna have in the pile when you get done this work.
Do you think if we put it out for 2,000, that would get us a little closer
It
to?
wouldn't hurt to pick it out at 2,000.
Okay, so let me make that change.
Okay.
Could we approve it with that as a caveat?
Yes.
Move along.
Do you want a motion on that?
Yeah, if,
Okay, motion for the sand request for FY 2027 at 2,000 yards. Do we need to specify the 9/16 or in that proposal?
no, the only thing I'll share is the 2,000.
I think that's already in there.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor of the sand request from 2027 year?
Aye.
Aye, okay, any opposed? Okay, motion passed. Highway report, Travis.
Yeah, we kind of been, dealing with the big storm, intersections, snowbanks, turnarounds, fire hydrants. We have one more day of repairs, and then we're headed back for some tree cutting, brush cutting. Like the next 2 weeks, look really smooth. By the way.
And Travis, what is the, flood blade that you bought that was on this week's bills? It was 5,000 or something.
Yeah, they're a Nordic carbide blade,
Yeah.
and they seem to scrape down better than a full cover blade.
Yep, yeah. That's what I thought it was, but it's,
And ours should make this year, that was just, having a spare for next year.
but that was like $261 a foot.
It's very expensive, yes.
I said that.
We had talked last time about the seal repair on the truck, is that tied into this conversation? That we haven't had yet, or have we,
Fixing things,
The
truck.
yeah, the leaking seal
Something
of those
before.
truck,
We're waiting on,
we should.
we had
wait on that
questions.
Conversation.
I think so, is that why we passed on that bid because we had questions, but didn't we have questions on the repair?
Well, we were waiting until we got these questions answered.
Right,
Okay.
That was it.
All right.
So I just needs clarification. So we reduced the sand budget a bunch. We reduced the sand budget.
Yeah, 45,000.
But have the salt portion of our materials, how are we doing with salt?
Very well, since we're not able to get it, immediately. 50%, and we have some in the shed. And if we don't have to purchase, an outside supplier where it's double the cost, we're looking good, so.
Okay, I'm just curious about that.
so you did get some reserves,
There are, but it's significantly more money,
okay.
so.
And I have one more question, it's a totally different topic. I just happened to be downstairs and Michelle commented on the diesel gas price going up a ton.
Yes,
Why? That was going down.
So it was like 380, it's now 409 or something.
yes, yep.
So did that just happen? Because the only reason I'm saying it is I was over at the Townsend one and I noticed it was about in the 380s.
Yeah.
Cause I was just happened to be looking at it, there's the off-road and the on-road
Yeah.
pricing. And that was about a week or so ago, is this really recent, like within the last few days?
Honestly, I haven't noticed until I filled my pickup up over the weekend. and it
Yeah,
was-
so it's pretty recent,
Yeah,
wow. We shop around or, I'm going over there tomorrow, I'll let you know if I see 380-ish.
Is that weather related because it's so cold? Using more fuel?
it could be weather and it could be just heating oil.
Oh,
as
heating
well,
oil.
and all
It's just
kinds of
all the,
demand.
Demands.
I think Bart was 401 on that bill down there.
For
is that what it was?
401.
I heading over there tomorrow, I'll just take a look, I'm curious.
Maybe distribution in the store.
Oh,
Oh, right, true.
you're not supposed to do that, but I don't know what the rules are in Vermont, but some states you can't price gas at stores. So,
Well,
Thank you.
to get away with it. Anything else, Travis?
Oh.
Are you doing any removal of snow on the bridges? Or,
We've done some out 121 and Cabell Road. We could do more.
I saw it today on 91, they're doing a lot of snow removal around the bridges.
Yeah, generally the guardrail.
Yeah.
Snow and then you get narrower and narrower.
Yeah,
We should do the village,
but
the village bridge.
the village bridge.
Oh,
Yeah, lots of times what it does, it melts, creates black ice. So you wanna get it out of there. Okay, well, thanks for what you're doing. Anybody have any questions for Travis on highway? In the audience?
Thank you.
Open town office air sealing and insulation proposals.
So this is the project that we're
Yep.
working with the Dimensional on. And unfortunately, we did not receive any bids for this project. It was a pretty quick turnaround for contractors to get them in. And so I talked to Anand from Wyndham Regional, who's been the point of contact. He feels that the scope of work is pretty small in the grand scheme of things, and we may be able to have a contractor come in and give an estimate. And that avoid the need for a sealed bid proposal, just because the cost could be lower than that process. So he's gonna continue working on it, and he has all of our contact information, so as soon as he has an update, I think he might email you directly, Kathy.
Okay,
And if you can just share it with the rest of the board, if not, he'll continue to send things to my email and Michelle will forward them along.
Okay.
So it's still very much a work in progress. Unfortunately, I don't have a better update.
so we can't send anything out locally to folks?
He had sent out the RFP to as many
Yeah.
sealing companies as he knew of. And he's currently working on a project in Wardsboro. And so he sent, yeah, as much as he could, but I think timing is what hurt us on that one.
So
Okay,
is he looking at a tender that you would recommend?
He didn't specifically say, but it sounds like he had at least one or two companies in mind.
so the difference being it's almost as if someone is gonna come in and tell us what they would do it for, and if it's okay, we'd say okay. So not really a bidding process because it's such a low number.
Right.
Is that what
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna
do you have an estimate on the figure?
What is there?
I believe it's 5,000, and every time I get asked that, I always have to look it up.
But that had to be done, would be come in at way more than $5,000.
Yeah. I would think so,
Oh, yeah.
with labor.
I don't know what he figured it was gonna cost.
I don't know either.
Hmm.
Now, is there a deadline on March 31st? I have in my head.
Yes, but we've shown significant progress on the project so far that I don't have any hesitations about not having any issues with that
Okay,
deadline.
I just don't wanna lose that money.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. Any other questions on that? If not, clerk and treasurer can have anything?
No update.
I know taxes are due this month for February 17th. Committee reports, cemetery, anything?
I don't think there's much on the cemetery right now. Buzz and me are gonna meet again this week or next week, so we'll have a better report, and I think the bids go out for supposed to be in the next meeting of March 2nd.
They are advertised right now with a due date of March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Yeah.
I did start doing a little bit of research on the cost of plots in Vermont in various cities. Because ours are pretty low, and John and I talked about that when we meet, and it'd probably be good to have Kim here. We'll talk about it since she administers that separate from. But we'll probably, 3 times lower than any other town.
3 times.
Wow.
Mhm. And again, it's not just to raise the price to, big money, but to put into that fund for maintenance.
Yeah.
And hopefully have that in the future.
And there's different charges for size of plot, like in terms of if it's a crematory or just a regular burial.
It's actually an interesting topic when we get into it, there's single casket aerial cremation plots, which we had talked about maybe
Yeah.
doing on 35. And in Vermont, they actually have natural green burial, which I was not aware of, but it's kind of interesting. If you want your body to return to the earth, they do offer that in Vermont Forest Cemetery.
Wow.
So,
And all different costs.
what's that?
And
Yes.
probably all different costs.
Yeah, it depends by the size of the city, like Burlington's 793 to 2,800. And then smaller cities are like 300 to 900.
Yeah, where are we?
Yeah, it's much more expensive. So, so John and I can kind of talk about that and maybe have a report out and we can talk to them about how that might be used for, supporting the cemeteries going forward.
Great. Well, thanks for pursuing that. Parks Committee, anything?
No,
Highway, we're all set?
I think we've all set for now.
Yeah.
I just want to talk with, Travis about that truck some more. So we can have plenty to talk about at the next meeting.
All right, truck
Excellent
four,
decision.
truck four.
Yeah.
Hmm. Personnel, I don't have anything right now. Steve, you have anything? Any flood update?
very curious.
We are still working with the engineers and the state of Vermont to get the scope of work change. That I mentioned last meeting for the Eastman Road block wall, so work in progress. Otherwise, we just have those tree cutting proposals to open.
Okay.
Which we've got a stack over there.
You want me to read them all?
This is good.
So it's another 6,000, right?
Man.
Hmm.
The people were fired. Yes.
All right, this one's from Ivor Stevens. Grand total of $2,000.
Does that include removal too, or just cutting?
Yeah, he broke it down.
Okay.
Mobilization, demobilization, 500 traffic control, 500 tree cutting and removal, 1,000. Grand total of 2,000. Ivor Stevens.
All of the contractors were given the same cover sheet, so they all should, if they followed it,
It'll be the same.
have the same.
And have insurance too.
Hopefully, we'll see.
Cross things out. I feel perplexed.
This one is Trevor. Have you luck? I don't know if I pronounced that right. Townsend, Vermont, he's got a grand total price of 3,400.
He doesn't have any insurance, does he?
Not seeing any. Don't know if they forgot to put it in there. But yeah, Insurance probably.
I think you've got some actually.
The 802 tree. For a little better. So he has a grand total of 1,600. 802 tree, Chester, Vermont.
Is there a name with that, just out of curiosity?
The 802 tree.
No, the person's
The
name?
person's name.
TJ Carroll.
Okay, okay.
Did all these bidders have a site visit?
It was offered to all of them. I think some of them came on site. I know Travis met companies, but they were on too.
Okay.
So.
This one here is Why Not Work, Townsend, Vermont.
Oh,
This is Tanner Why Not, is the owner. And a grand total of 2,920. This is Casella Construction. Like Jeff Chase. The estimator, this company, and he has a number of $4,713.55.
you know where they're at?
You know where Casella
And then-
Construction is on?
Ah, Florida. I think it's nothing to do with it.
Transportation.
It's Jamie Gregory, trucking excavation. He's got a grand total of 1,800. This is MSI Trucking and Site Work. This is, can't read the guy's name, but it's the project manager estimator. He's got a grand total of 7,800, no, 684, 7,684.
Cool.
The Save a Tree. Carr Tree, this is Henry Carr, manager. He's got a grand total of $2,576.
Who was that?
Thank you, Colin.
Save a Tree. Henry Carr,
2,000 months?
$2,576. That's it.
Ooh. What a range.
So since I have a conflict there with my dad putting a bid in, I'll have. Travis and David can review all of the bids, make sure they included everything that they needed to, and then
Mhm.
I think they can have a recommendation at the next meeting.
The insurance. Was it open?
Scope of work.
So it's really just cost and inflation?
Yeah.
So when you look at these bids, I'm assuming you've looked at the area.
Yep.
Have an eyeball of size of trees and amount of trees.
Yeah, no, it's a smaller job.
Yeah, it seems like these bids are all over the place.
Yeah.
And oftentimes they bid high because they don't want.
And
Sure.
so it's helpful to look at the site
Yeah,
when you get them.
okay, so we'll meet again on that next meeting. Is budget have questions?
No, it's just gonna say 5 of the 7 or 10 are ranging around 2,000.
And they're also the ones that are around here.
Yeah.
A bit above what they can do.
Travis has been involved in the meetings that we've had with the engineers recently too, so,
Okay,
yeah. I-
good, that's good to know.
Yeah, I feel good now. Everything is-
Geez. Okay, you're gonna review short-term rental ordinance?
I can speak to that, if Morgan, so this is a little bit of history of long. Has been quite a process over a year, about a year and a half now. After I went to the short-term rental seminar in November, reported back here, waited for more input, from those who had interest in this. Needless to say, we've received a vast amount of interest in this whole process. The, major thing that happened between our last discussion or the last time we looked at this and now is that the, VLCT put together a, I won't say dummy ordinance or a template, an ordinance template. And which they had sort of hashed out, sort of. Not recommended language, but comprehensive language, depending upon the type of community you're in. So you're covering the various concerns and issues. So we went through that, I went through that with Morgan and we. Added some language and would it be helpful for our audience, to put it up on the board maybe? But we added various language, we added to the purpose, in section 2 right off the bat. Expanded our purpose, a little bit, I'm gonna read it out loud now, just because I think it's important. Not gonna read everything else out loud, I promise you. But the purpose of this ordinance is to protect and preserve the character of the town of Grafton. Promote and protect the public health, safety and welfare and convenience of the town. To preserve residents' rights to quiet enjoyment of homes and properties. Enhance and maintain the existing character of residential neighborhoods. To preserve and promote the availability of long-term affordable residential housing in town. By regulating transient commercial use of residential property. And to ensure the safety of occupants for short-term rentals. So I think that what this does is expands on the language. Yes, we are recognizing the desire to have convenient places for people who visit our town to stay. And balance that with the concern about every town's concern in Vermont, it seems, about long-term affordable housing and period. The safety part of it is the lion's share of the regulations. And these safety ordinances are from, the state and enhanced by, or have been shared to us shared with us by, VLCT. The second area of change is on the second page, where we just tightened up the registration. And, clarified things. We had originally had registration on January 1st, we're now just doing it on a renewal. In talking with Morgan about this, our concern obviously was administration and making it difficult, but we realized with the few number of STRs in town, it's not something that would be difficult to do. So that is, talks about if anything's misleading, a lot of this, like E there, the violation of the ordinance to provide false information, that's from the language from VLCT. Actually, all of this is. And on to the next page, we haven't changed any of the occupancy, we haven't changed, and or the owner obligations, I'll go through them quickly. As you can see, the first section B. B is the same except for, the ordinance must be on location. That's nice, so the person renting the house knows there's an ordinance, anyway, it's available. As well as the septic pumping ordinance will be at the location. We did include this big number C, letter C, which is Vermont's 911 addressing standards that the town uses anyway. But clarifying them, I think is terribly helpful, especially if there are smaller units within a piece of property. If you have dwelling units with one street address, so that 911 calls knows that that's dwelling unit A, B, or C, and where the call is. These dwelling units comprise, just FYI, the part of the total count that we are gonna talk about in a minute. So it's not just a street address that counts as a short-term rental, but the dwelling units at the street address, if there are more than one, which happens from time to time. And you all can see there's a lighting issue too, which we, again, we can choose to eliminate or pull in these. We felt the exterior lighting piece was important because there have been concerns by townspeople about when the rental is in use, there's a lot of lights all over the place and that was troubling. So we did, that was in there. The fire safety, the parking, trash and waste, septic maintenance, and the part 6A of the registration is all the same that we've said all along. Again, the onus is on the short-term rental operator to provide the materials. We can certainly help them reach out to the correct department, the state of Vermont, to get a fire inspection and all of those things, but they do have to provide the documentation in this ordinance. The dwelling units in B, we actually updated this to the 2025 grand list, and there became a 47 dwelling unit cap. Our short-term rental numbers most recently were well under that, but they come and go. I don't know that we've ever broken 30, believe it or not. So, there's that. The fees, again, it's per dwelling unit, clarifying that. And the next one, we certainly can modify the fee schedule, we certainly can modify the ordinance from time to time as well. The violation information is the same until you get to the warning. We agreed, we felt, and this was part of the language from VLCT, that the warning wouldn't count towards calculation of number of offenses, because there's that, I think that seemed reasonable to us. talked about what happens if a registration should be revoked. We didn't have that in there before, so this was very helpful language, to us that came with this, dummy ordinance that the, VLCT provided. And what happens if your registration gets revoked? Again, we just did a direct lift of the information from that ordinance. And all of this, so this is pretty standard. There's not a lot, I think, that changes. In our discussion, again, as we pulled this together with all sorts of input and comments, I guess at this point, I feel that it's time for us either to act or not act on this ordinance. We've put an awful lot of work into it, and my goal would that be that tonight we could get an understanding of how the board feels about it. If it's a, yes, we're go ahead, then we go through the process of, if it's a passing vote, go through the process subsequent to adopting an ordinance with the waiting period and things like that. To be honest, between that, the last discussion and now, I had no total transparency, no further input from townspeople. So there seems to have been lots of time for those that are concerned with it or whatever. I had no further input. So that's, at this point, I feel that having done this, we see how it applies. So I would make a motion that we take a vote on the short-term rental ordinance. Pursuant, and the only, help me, Morgan, with the language here. We do believe, even though this language has been vetted by VLCT, that it should have one final look by our lawyer. If it's a yay vote, it's a nay vote, and that's that.
Should the select board get together and discuss on how this is gonna be administrative through the, it doesn't say in here, it says they will appoint somebody or whatever.
Well, I think we certainly can have that discussion. I think at this juncture, Morgan is aware of the administration of it, and we have talked about the fees. Again, once we get hard numbers, would allow us to use the listing service. There are two. So there are two that were at the meeting. One, we had the proposal from before. The second one was a new one to me. And so in concert with, basically it becomes a subscription to their database information and the management. We had discussed it, Morgan, and you can correct me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, that this registry is doable with our administrative staff, maintaining this registry. If they don't register, that's that. So we are hopeful that, I mean, obviously there may be some support. I think that's where we are now.
Well, I know for one, I wouldn't wanna be called out at midnight, they'd go rap on somebody's door that you're in violation.
That you wouldn't be called out at midnight. That's not the way it would work.
I know also, this was submitted to the attorney the last time,
Mhm.
and his recommendation is that we not get into it. So,
Well, that,
I know that, and then, as you say, we've made changes now, and he should go over it again.
we
I know, we've had 3 complaints since this got started.
Right.
One of them was a bonfire after 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock or whatever. The other one was car packed side the road, and another one a bag of garbage.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in favor of ordinances, if they are really needed. I really hate to put in ordinances where I don't see where it's needed
I understand.
myself. And for a town that should have it is Ludlow. They've got 250 of these, they don't have no ordinance about it.
Yeah, some of the ski areas don't either. Um,
I think that, I'm not disagreeing with some of your thoughts, that you're right. We have had very few complaints, which is terrific. And that's true. There's been stated concerns about getting ahead of the curve on short-term rentals. So I'm really here, I'll be honest with you, I'm pulling the information together. I'm getting to hear the conversation and see how the vote falls. But I don't think that Morgan thought, or Morgan and I thought, and even if it became a committee and that was my, somewhat of a responsibility, that we thought it was an onerous amount of administration. That's where I'll go with that.
there was a fee though for the registry, right?
Oh, yeah, $200 per dwelling unit.
Right.
That would, the fee, that would pay for that, subscription of the service that basically what that does is monitors the numbers. It provides us a software where we can, here comes your packet, here's your registration, we can check the boxes and.
I guess what I'm asking, there was an initial cost for that package
Which,
from the services that we looked at.
correct,
Okay. One of the things that's important for me, or concern for the town, is registry, just knowing who owns the home, who's doing the safety issues around, fire alarms, and monitoring their septic. And that people that are using the short-term rental know what this is about, but also how they run that home by the homeowner. That's really important.
yeah, and that is with the ordinance at the home. And these various stipulations of what the homeowner would do was addressing that concern. And certainly the safety concerns. In terms of occupancy and things like that. But there's the other
Yeah.
side of the story.
A lot of time and work has gone into this for you and for Morgan. I got involved with it too, because we have a home in Weston that's been short-term rental now, it's just a full rental. But it's a lot of work. But having done that, I understand this. And what happens with homeowners that do this, they don't tell their folks coming in all the information. And what happens as an owner, we would get the calls, which is appropriate.
Right, the owner or the caretaker, yeah.
But some of these folks that have homes live far away, so they're clueless. And it's nice that each homeowner has a file that the renter can look at. Well, this happens when their furnace isn't working, or, just little things. People come in from the city, they're clueless, believe me, they're clueless. Aside from that, I like it, I think it can work. But I'm hearing John too.
Mhm.
We have not had any complaints, we've been really lucky. And I know some folks were very concerned about ownership of these homes, and that not a big corporation was gonna come in here and take over, 4 or 5 units here in Grafton. We don't want that, but
And that's in here, in section 4.
that's a whole
yeah.
nother.
Right, and one of the things I did learn at the seminar is that does not seem to be the direction this is going, that big corporations are buying them up. There may be management companies, but they are owned by people, and it doesn't, that was made clear sort of by everybody, whether they were pro or con ordinances, or even pro or con short-term rentals. It seemed to be that fear that Marriott was gonna open up short-term rentals. They apparently aren't. Again, that's as of, yeah, so.
So I take John's point on you don't wanna create ordinances just to create ordinances. But at the same time, it is a new, it's a new issue, right, for Vermont. A lot of the towns are kind of getting their arms around it, creating. It's not, it doesn't seem particularly onerous at what's written here. I kind of like having the cap that, we haven't really approached it. But it does give us some protection without getting too many, short-term rentals. And use the word lucky. We haven't had many complaints, and, lucky is not maybe the policy that's always gonna work. This would at least give us a framework for handling an issue if it did, come up. So I mean, I agree that we have the attorney look at it again
Oh, yeah.
and give us input. I would be inclined to, vote for it pending his, his feedback. Because again, I think we're not putting a dramatic level of, requirements in place, but enough that we can manage the issue in the future if it's necessary.
I think that the drawback of short-term rentals is that keeps families away from a community to rent full-time and maybe to own a home. And that's what we're seeing now with we're not having our school, so 29 kids. If we had less short-term rentals here in town, it might open up more families, for our community, and that's the drawback that I don't like people, that we have short-term rentals.
I don't know that, I understand that, and it's horrible to see our school.
Yeah.
And, I guess, yeah, I hear you, sweet family just moved out of town, nothing to do with short-term rentals, which is too bad. So, yeah, I don't know if where it comes from, but it is a very difficult situation.
Well,
with
it's
the
very-
subsidies.
Let's face it, Grafton's expensive to own here. Regardless of short-term rentals,
Mhm.
it's expensive.
Anybody,
No, I agree with what Buzz is saying on having the attorney look at it, bring it back. Does this mean a vote by the select board to go ahead with it? Or does it have to have a town vote? I mean, we could have,
Oh, no, the select board can vote on having it go in front of the attorney and then. Provided how that discussion goes, the select board would vote on it and then it goes. It's advertised for a set number of days. If there's a petition filed by the town voters,
Okay.
then it would go to a vote
okay,
of the town. Otherwise, it would be effective. I think it's 60 days
yeah,
after the
60, I think.
after the date.
so you don't make the motion.
Oh, yeah, I make a motion. That we are voting on the ordinance subject to the. Lawyer's review of the language in the ordinance.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor of the short-term rental. That the select board would be voting on tonight. With an overview with the attorney to come back with any other comments or suggestions. and I have the second, all in favor of that? Is there anything else in that motion? Morgan,
No, I think we're fine.
all in favor?
Right.
Aye. John?
So. You leave the vote out and have the 30 recommendations, I would vote yes. But not before he has his recommendation.
Yeah, I understand.
You vote on something new,
Well,
Like,
we
not the
can,
way to vote on something that's that important.
he has reviewed the lion's share of this. And whether his opinion of it, it cleared his review, I believe, but we'll find out.
but you've added
Added some language,
VLCT.
it's VLCT
It's
language,
it's
which I think is,
clarifying, much more clarifying. And I think it's very helpful that you've put that in there.
right, which had been, their language had been vetted as well, so I have not a tremendous amount of concern. But I don't know, that's really even my right to, or it's proper for me to say so, but their language has been vetted in terms of whether it's okay to, legal to put it in a thing, not by a lawyer, they're our lawyer, but they're as a legal entity. Question?
Yeah, I just would like to comment that the VOCT is all staffed by attorneys. And so if they put out this template, I think we can be very comfortable that it is legally very sound. And we should not be concerned about that.
That is
The
why,
VOCT would not otherwise put it out.
right, which is why when we discussed this today, Morgan had felt comfortable and we had talked about this, let's moving it along for this reason, so. That very reason.
And we've used the VLCT also for our personnel policies,
Right.
so. And we've added to it too,
But it is their job to advise, especially on such legal matters. So I think we can be pretty comfortable about that.
okay, so we have a vote for positive one. Any other business?
I just wanted to mention that letter of support that the library is requesting. I sent an email this afternoon, but essentially they're applying for a grant program to do some work on the library building itself. And from my understanding, it is to fix some roof issues. Improve the accessible ramp for ADA compliance and some exterior painting of the building. And as part of the grant application, they just request a letter of support from the select board. So I drafted one and I sent it around this afternoon. Hopefully you've had a chance to look at it. But it's up to you if you want to send that over to them.
Did everybody have a chance to read it? Did you read it?
Yeah,
The letter? Yeah, I thought that was a good letter
So I'm a little, yeah.
for support. I had questions for, Morgan on that letter, not so much the letter, what they were doing, cause I was, when they said they were gonna do some extensions on the wing, I didn't know if that was going to impact neighbors in septic and water, but they're gonna be within the footprint of their building, so.
They're,
And I didn't know how much they were looking for in terms of the grant. And she didn't have that information.
it's, so, from Mary Beth Culver's letter, it says that the roof and clapboard replacement on the newer wing of the building, improving roof overhangs and drainage around the building. And the accessible ramp that needs to be remediated for ADA compliance and exterior painting to finish it. So letter then, yeah. Let's see. Let me just open that.
I think it's fine to send. I didn't have any other additions to it.
Those two must be this.
The motion would be.
That's a-
Well, motion that we, approve the letter for support of library event.
I'll second it. Are those in favor of the, letter of support for the library's, improvements and for their accepting, a grant that they're applying for?
I,
Anybody opposed? Okay. I have motion to support that letter and have Morgan send it out. Thanks for doing that letter.
Yeah.
Any other business? Just any word on the survey that's being for our
I know
handicap
Joe
ramp?
Bernardo had, one of his crew members out here last week or maybe the week before, so I haven't heard an update, but I know that they're still working.
Okay,
I can try to reach out tomorrow to see where that stands.
yeah, just see where they're at and, also that involves the attorney.
Yeah, yeah.
Any public comment? Suzanne?
Kathy, thank you. I have a comment and a question, please. I just want to thank the select board for the quality of the deliberation and the discussion about the short-term rental. Thank you for that. My question has to do with Morgan. And I'm interested in what the transition plan is for her position. I'm not sure if the timing is right to answer this question.
That's fine.
But would you share
Sure.
how this is gonna work? Because we're gonna miss her.
Well, Michelle Dolph has been shadowing, Morgan for, I guess, on and off.
About a month
Month?
now, yeah.
So she understands pretty much what is expected of, Morgan as she's gonna be leaving for the 12 weeks. It's a part-time position for Michelle, just adding on some hours for Michelle. You know, answering the phones, doing emails, reaching out to our board for any concerns that come up. And, doing the agendas for us. And Wendy's gonna be taking the minutes. And taking over where Morgan is right now.
and am I right in understanding for that Michelle, you've worked with her, so she understands where in the vast
Mhm.
file system that you have, that you could find a grant letter and all that stuff, so
Right.
they've been working together, so that's seamless.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will be.
Also mentioned that Kim and I work so closely together every day that if Michelle can't find
Yeah,
something,
Kim will help.
Kim has offered to help as much as she can too. Otherwise, I think, I mean, the highway department's in good shape. I think Travis is great to answer questions and
Mhm.
I don't wanna speak on behalf of the board, but the board members are here to field a lot of questions too, so things will keep moving.
Yeah. And Morgan's done a great job, putting everything up to date in terms of getting grants out and she's got a timeline that has met and she's leaving all that information for Michelle, so she's.
I'm sorry.
The timeline that Morgan's working on for us, Michelle's gonna be knowing all that, so.
I see.
And if there's questions, try to answer them, and it's all on that computer.
Yeah, Morgan is quite facile at finding things on her computer, unlike most of us. So that's wonderful that she is turning that over to Michelle. What about I'm sorry, I'm not interrupting you. I didn't see that on my.
I have a related question.
Okay, Lisa.
No,
You go.
Lisa,
As you mentioned the keyword computer, I'm just reminded of the hearing, the Act 250 hearing, the other day. And 45 minutes of that hearing were spent on
Mhm.
technical problems.
Mhm.
And Morgan kindly came upstairs and assisted in getting that meeting going. So I'm.
Yeah, I pushed it first.
Yes, yes, you did have it. And they're very much appreciated. And I'm just really hoping that everyone in town hall will have the same technical capabilities as Morgan had.
Thank you. I do have, I think it's always difficult when people come in and try to use their own equipment in conjunction with
Is that what that
town.
is?
And so that always adds another layer of difficulty.
it's just usually by myself too.
Yeah, but I will say I do have a pretty helpful how-to guide on how to set up the system in here. That Wendy's familiar with, Kim and Michelle, and the planning commission uses all of it too, so I feel comfortable about it.
I was pretty blown away when I walked in. I'm going, did they do? And they were struggling, and I got frustrated after the 45 minutes. Even before that, I go downstairs, and she was in a meeting, a Zoom meeting, so
Speaking of,
was,
this is a little tangential, I'm sorry.
frustrating.
Speaking of that, I received on the mailing list from Alex Weinhagen an update on Act 250. Do you get those,
I
or
do.
should those be made available to the public, or how do we handle those ongoing? It's kind of long, and it doesn't say there's a meeting next week, it's just all sorts of new questions. Did you get it?
So I did get that.
I got
but
it 4
I-
hours ago, so I haven't read it.
So I don't know who all is on this list, but I certainly got all that stuff from Alex.
Yeah, I just wondered about, keeping people apprised.
Yeah, and that is a good point, Anna, because that has been one of the key concerns about Act 181, that the landowners who will be affected by the changes to the law have not been notified, and they still don't really have a process for notifying landowners. And Alex is basically saying there's no budget for that.
Right.
But I think he's hoping that somehow through the towns, the grand list, and perhaps with help from the regional commission, there could be some way to connect the map that has been created with the grand list that then has the landowner information, so that all the folks would be notified.
Vermont Chronicle, if you follow Vermont Chronicle, they've had several articles on Act 51 on the tiers. In fact, I got 2 over the weekend.
Yeah,
And my brother has sent some things also, following on that act. And it does impact the homeowner on tier 3,
very much so.
very much so than bigger communities like Chittenden County and Burlington.
Yeah, like for instance, the entire Stagecoach Road,
Right.
or Ranch Road, that whole end of town will have a major change.
Yeah.
On their properties, and they'll, according to.
And
the
they have to
county
go through Act 250 to do.
Yeah.
You know,
And it
thing.
still appears not finalized
No,
It's not fun.
at all. Just the AI overview suggests that the next draft is expected in February. Public hearings are scheduled for May or June 2026. They still are hoping for jurisdiction to start by 12/31/2026. Upcoming discussions include simplifying subdivision exemptions and addressing the new road rule guidance document coming soon. So it's a lot of language if you're not familiar with all the language. But I'm certainly available if somebody wants to meet to forward an email or whatever I get. It's a lot, and there are lots of people to ask questions of in this email. Should you get this email? I don't really do.
okay. Anything else on public comment?
There are lots of cupcakes and cookies here to celebrate Morgan. Oh,
Question, who brought the pieces?
well, I brought the cupcakes, Kathy brought the
I
cookies,
brought the cookies,
the old teachers.
yeah, all teachers.
Okay.
Young teachers.
Yeah. So with that, our next meeting is Tuesday, February 17th at 6 p.m. here. And before adjournment, we wish Morgan and her new family to be soon. All the best.
Thank
Healthy baby, healthy mom and dad.
And you can bring them to the first meeting.
Sure.
And thank you, Morgan, for all you're doing.
Yes, thank you.
A motion to adjourn,
So,
to enjoy cupcakes and
Yes,
Italian
please.
cookies. Italian cookies.
so moved. Please take a cookie.